What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. Let me just say, I am so thankful to be in this position right now of providing information to each and every one of you all who may be on a search for truth, for those who may be looking for answers, maybe to those who have some inclinations of who they are, what they are, maybe where they come from, but really haven't got any sound proof. And my whole objective here is not to disrespect anybody, for you can be whoever you want to be. Only those who have an ear to hear are those who have a inkling of knowing that they are greater than what they are or appear in the Western worlds of living. And there's got to be some explanation of why we are who we are and really where we really come from and who we truly are. I say all that to say that, I have a great video I want to share with you all. It was an awesome experience being in Jerusalem, and it was an awesome experience being in Israel. It was an awesome experience being in Dimona and in Israel. That whole 10 days, I think I was there. It was very impactful. It was very moving, and it was another piece of my puzzle I was able to put on the truth. And, because sometimes, we run with information and don't have things to validate or substantiate what we believe in. But before I get into the video, sit back, enjoy, get your popcorn, get your drink, and this is going to be fun, y'all. This is going to be a fun a walk down history lane, just a taste. I've got several videos of the Shaikh talking different subjects, but now we're going to get into maybe a couple other questions that's going to be asked. But first and foremost, our brother Sar Kazriel, he is going to break down where is we are and where we're going and what some of the history in that area is, which has everything to do with you and me, we as a people. So let me give shout outs. Let me know where everybody is coming from. Peace and blessings to each and every one of y'all. Okay, Will Salazar, you got the shot the Chiclayo, Peru, Nigeria. Okay. And let's see who else we got. Let me know where y'all from. Good morning to you. Good morning, Cliff. Good morning. Good morning, Amayan. Uh, the souls of our ancestors. Shalom to you too. North Kakalaki in the house again. Boston, Massachusetts, the proper Israel. Danielle is Dayton Beach, Florida. Miss Peace in Canada. Amayan, okay, Philly, from Philly. All right. Shabbat Shalom to Jay Berg. Shlomo is from Bermuda. Okay, hopefully everybody's letting me know where you're living right now. What's up, Miss Wog Daily? Right there in the San Diego. My wife was just in San Diego this past weekend. Went there for a college graduation. She was just there. Sim August from New York. Mr. Shea Butter from Washington, D.C. I guess GY, is from Houston, Texas. Zarth 4 from Florida. Afro Sam, you're Ugandan watching from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome. Hey, if you would like to uh, show me some places there in Nairobi, send me an email at gobacktoafrica@gmail.com. I will be going to Nigeria. I'm very intrigued to get there and get some information from the Igbo tribe. And we're going to see what all is going to be about. To tie in just another piece of the puzzle that they, being the children, one of the lost tribes that has a history shown and proven. They migrated across Africa and wound up in a region what they would call Nigeria. Let's see who else we got here. Susan Hester, North Carolina. Grand Rising. Marion Jones, Trinidad and Tobago, lives in the U.S. All right. Anea Neuno, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. All right. Clebert Obas is from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Renee B.L.'s Journey, Akron, Ohio. Good morning to YouTube, Joy 31608 from Indianapolis, Indiana. Marvin Smoot, Shabbat Shalom to YouTube, Detroit, Michigan. Safina Transportation, Togo from the Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, live in USA. All righty. We're coming back together, family. Hallelujah, says Amanyan. Okay, so family, let me go ahead and start this video here. Let me lay out the let me just lay out the video. Sit back and gain some information so you can put in your history book of more information of what's been told by our people. These are scholars, y'all. These are people who has experience. These are people who ain't just speaking out of the side of their neck and decided they wanted to go ahead and make fictitious stories up and stuff. No, these are people who have proven that through the years of connections with those people who are on the ground and the information that they had to research to find, it's all becoming brighter. So let's get into it right here. Let me share my screen. This right here video, like I said, I was in Dimona, Israel just last week. I was taken to a place, I think it's Bashiva or something like that, of where Sheikh lives. He is the one who heads this village of, he says, about 2,000 to 3,000 people. Plus he's connected with another location with a brother who is a sheikh there, that they kind of share responsibility, that there's 10,000 people over there. But it gives this rich history of the existence of being indigenous in the land of Israel and how we were even in Israel. If you look at my previous video, and he says that they basically was kind of moved further away on the outskirts, out from Jerusalem, as the Europeans were ushered in to the land of Israel. But you still have some of those who remain that I just showed y'all in the previous video that's still there in Israel, Jerusalem to be exact, that has a rich history of being there, which ties us into those that are in your Bibles that they call, or the scriptures, the ancient writings, or the scrolls, that we are a people beyond than what we actually know. So let's get into the video. This first video is going to be about 11 minutes, but this is the brothers I went with. You can see me in the gray shirt, and I am with these brothers here. That you see the brother in the red to your left, that's Sar Kazrael. Then you have the Sheikh, that's Aid there. Then you have brother in the green, that's David, myself. And please excuse me, but I cannot remember my brother's name. But this is who was on, came to visit the Sheikh.
Okay, we're visiting what's called the Negev region. It's the southern region of Israel. And much of the history of the Hebrew Israelites that's recorded in the Torah, in the Tanakh, in the Bible, occurred in this region. You know, most of the prophets. In fact, King David, Yeshua, or who people refer to as Jesus, the prophet Isaiah, many of those prophets ministered in the southern region. In fact, Jordan, what's now called the Kingdom of Jordan, was also a part of the Holy Land at that time. So a lot of the history that actually took place in the Negev also occurred in Jordan because they were landlocked. There was no border.
And the Negev is
The Negev is the southern region. Sometimes they refer to it as a desert, but it only means dry land. It's dry. It's not a desert without water. Now, where we're visiting today is an Ishmaelite village, an African Hebrew Ishmaelite village. These are also the lands of Abraham. In fact, these mountains that you see here are called the hills of Judea. These are the Judean hills. The tribe of Judah occupied this region. Okay, and Abraham, when we refer to the historical dynamics, he had principally two sons. He had Ishmael and Isaac, right? And according to the scripture, the blessings or the covenant was made with Isaac, but the covenant was also made with Ishmael. And we'll read that once we, like I said, once we get to the location that we're going. And because the question was asked when the blessing was given to Isaac, the question was, well, what about Ishmael? And the author says that he too will be blessed. He will be a great nation, and great princes shall come out of Ishmael. Now, where it gets a little complicated as time goes on, and then through the European definition of this land, you have the term Arab. Calling the Ishmaelite people Arabs is no different than calling the indigenous people in America Indians. It's really an insult. The term Arab means someone who dwells on the land, the same as the word Bedouin. Bedouin and Arab basically are the same idea. But the term Bedouin is more indigenous in terms of it means, someone who basically dwelled on the land. And Abraham was a Bedouin because he lived in tents and he moved from region to region. And so his seed or his sons, Ishmael and Isaac, inherited the Bedouin culture. However, you can't name tribes of people by lands and mountains and rivers. You have to name people through either a patriarchal or matriarchal sometimes reference. And so Ishmael, the people that we're visiting today are the sons of Ishmael, whereas as an Israelite, I'm the son of Israel. Hebrew Israelite and Hebrew Ishmaelite. We come from the same seed. However, there's a different cultural span as time went on. And that's a very important part. If we had the time to really get into the cultural and historical dynamics, it really was not supposed to be two different cultures between Ishmaelites and Israelites. Basically they were the same indigenous people. Okay. Now I want to share something else with you here. See these homes out here? These are where the Bedouin people or the Ishmaelite people, they occupy this landscape, starting from here in Dimona all the way to a city called Rahat. You'll find these little villages. Now, what's so unique about this, Brother Kofi, is these people have lived like this for nearly 6,000 years. They lived along here. Some of them have what's called unrecognized villages. Unrecognized mean that the Israeli government do not recognize them as being an official settlement, an official village, or an official city under the municipality of the region. And basically, they're undeveloped in terms of infrastructure. There's no roads. There's no electrical infrastructure. They don't build schools for them. There's no social institutions. And they actually want to remove these unrecognized settlements from the land. And they want to move them into what's called recognized villages. The thing about that transition from the unrecognized village to the recognized village, they will lose the opportunity to live their indigenous culture. And this is why they refuse to move. Because once you take them off the land into an urban environment, then it diminishes this 6,000 year culture. Now, that's a remarkable point because there are not a lot of places on earth today where you can trace the history back to 7,000 years, where people are still living in the same region under their own system of governance. So what happens is that they're, like I explained, they're government agencies, Israeli agencies. They want to remove them because first they can't control them. These little villages have their own leadership structure. Say, for instance, if some kind of crime was committed, the police will not go directly into these villages. They would go to a point and then they would ask for the sheikh to come out. And the sheikh is like the spiritual leader. He would come and he would negotiate and he would deal with any offenses that were made. And many times the judgment of the crime would not be handled by the justice system of the Israelis. The justice system in the village would adjudicate the offense and would, and carry it out, whatever, depending on what the offense was. But now, the swing part to it is there are Israeli institutions that will never remove this because this is what gives this country its spiritual girth, its worth. Because Israel is a biblical expression, it's a biblical idea, it's a biblical experience. And this is what this experience still represents, that 6,000 year biblical narrative. And to remove it, then you're actually tampering with the very substructure of why this land is important to people all over the world. It has to show this indigenous idea. A lot of times you even see camels right now moving through this area, which, is just one of the scenic things that places us in that, that more ancient idea. So this is what CNN never want people to see, because the village that we're going to, Second Shalom, it has one of the largest populations of indigenous African Ishmaelites. And when you hear the brother Sheikh Aid, he's going to share with you how he traces his history back to this land for thousands of years. They were here before the Ottoman Empire. They were here before the British. They were here before the Israelis set up the state in 1948. So this is really probably one of the most important trips you will make in your lifetime. Why do I say that? Because one of the things that has choked the life from the African humanity is this inferiority idea. We are innately, biologically, and psychologically inferior people. I mean, that's still documented in their government constitutions and in their whole ideal of human rights. There's still a white supremacist accent to all of that. But actually, if Israel is indigenously an African place, an African land, that means that Africans gave the world the most unique and empowering concepts of God. That means that because what comes out of this land is Christianity. I'm talking about the historical ideal of Yeshua, the Christ. Muhammad came from here, and Moses came from here. And these three, spiritual ideas is what sets the whole platform and narrative for the ideal of God. And African people were the originators of it. Even if you go look in terms of the history of Kemet, Egypt. You can almost throw a rock from here over to Egypt. That's how close it is. And you cannot separate the excellence and the historical dynamics of Kemet from this land because it was one. Okay. Let's stop right there.
Okay. Yeah. Well. All right. So let me come back real quick. We got 268 people up in here. Beautiful. Good morning to each and every one of you all. I'm glad that y'all are in, and I'm glad that you all have the tenacity, the discipline, the attention span of watching this video that I think is very profound in building the blocks of our consciousness of realizing really who we are. You know, these are scholars that I'm sitting down with, people who are on the ground when I'm traveling and delving into the history of what theirs say versus what we've been taught in the West, which is a contradiction. It's a huge contradiction when you have people who have proof, sound proof of who they are, their lineage, their history of how long they've been in the land, and how even them and part of the tribes fled out and scattered across Africa. So my brother Sar Kazrael, who you just heard, gave an introduction of when I was there in Israel, in that area, that we now going to go ahead and step into the house of Sheikh Aid, who is a leader of a village of 2,000 to 3,000 people, he says. Please go back and watch my previous videos, because 2 other videos that I have with him speaking on different subject matter. So I broke it down and all that right there so that I can kind of keep it in, its perspective subject matters. So he is about to speak here, and we're going to get into some more dialogue, if you will, about this. Who are these people? Were they black, white? Well, when we talk about Israelites, and very few people heard of Israelites or Israel. Are you an Israeli or are you a Jew? You're going to start to hear from those who been indigenous to a land. So this next segment is about, let me see here. This next segment, it's 16 minutes there. So get yourself a drink. You ain't got to watch the video if you have to do work or iron your clothes or something like that, but let your children listen to this. Let them listen and play this again for your children. This ain't for us who's up in age per se. Really it's for the children, because they're the ones going to carry this. They're going to carry this knowledge forward to their children. They're going to carry this forward. We just got to present the information to them and then let them carry it forward. So get your drink, get your popcorn, and, very interesting topic here that Shaikh's going to mention about. And let's learn. Here we go. Okay, so.
I want to tell you, 1984 was in this region, even just the Negev region, where is Yehuda region.
Okay.
The majority, not the majority, 100% here, just the Bedouin, they rule in everything.
Okay, the Bedouin.
We rule in everything.
Okay. And the color? What color?
Also the color. It's not something bright like him.
Okay.
That's it.
Mixed.
But mixed.
Okay.
Mixed, but no white. Those people, you don't see white. Even if I take you to here in Beersheba in the Anzac Museum before 100 years, just 100 years.
100 years.
You see, they will show you you will watch there a movie when the Australian and New Zealand came with the great UK.
Okay.
They came here to take Beersheba. All this Beersheba, this was a Bedouin. And you see there, they come in with the houses. You see 1,000 houses. Then you look in the movie, there is 10,000 of Kabul and Bedouin like me. Yeah. They support them.
Okay.
They support them against, the Turkey.
Okay.
The Turkish make burger for us. So then you ask the man there, you mentioned just the horses. What about this people? Who was here? And as he's mentioned, you see who built, who making the how they call it, for the train, the road of the train. Yeah, the train. We do this.
Okay.
And you see, all this Beersheba.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me pause right there, because his dialect of course is not that's not his mother tongue English. But let me just real quick, 1 minute. What he's saying is basically, yeah, you have those who come in, they can do movies, they do all this other stuff, they film and all that right there, and yet, you know, they want to show and depict horses or depict something other than the Bedouins, who are the black folks, when all the while, all of those people there look just like him. And yet they don't want to show and depict that. That's why Sar Kazriel was saying in the vehicle when I was interviewing him that CNN is not going to show y'all this. CBS and all these other, you know, big main media streams that's on TV, you know, are not going to show us the truth of these people who exist and been there for thousands of years. They overlook that. So let's get back into it.
It's not far. One day I have to take
Yeah, I was just reading it in the Bible.
Yeah.
It says that Abraham planted groves right in this area. This could be part of the.
Even the house of a prophet Abraham is over there. Over here. I can take and you see this Abraham house, and this is Sarah room, this is Hagar room, and everything.
The Machpelah Caves, just 40 minutes away from here.
Yeah,
That's where the ancestors, Abraham, Isaac,
even
Jacob,
this
and
is
Sarah.
even this Australian. This is
Yeah.
this Australian. He present everything. Then we asked him.
Okay.
There was a big battle here. Near
Okay.
Persia. I said, what is this battle happened? You don't know.
Wow.
So I take the group. I tell them, just take the map. And I said, you see, he mentioned this the battle was here. Because they come into the water, they come into Abraham's house.
Wow.
Also in Beersheba there's a park that's dedicated to the British general.
The Turkish.
Yeah, but the point here, Brother Kofi, is when you look back in terms of civilization, see how important where you're sitting is. Beginning with Mesopotamia, which is the oldest recorded civilization on record, Mesopotamia and Sumer. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, the Ottomans, and the British all had this land under their dominion. It was relative to the idea of hegemony. In other words, you play chess. The objective of the chess master is to control what part of the board? The middle. That's what if I'm correct, it's the center of the board that you have to control.
That's the focus.
Yeah, the focus control the center. All of the ancient scholars and geologists, political, geopolitical analysts, they all refer to this region as the center of the earth. Right? I think someone mentioned that during the presentation on the Sabbath.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's been that type of salient attitude. All of those men who desired to rule the world, there was something significant about this land, northeastern Africa, that was relative to dominion of the earth. Now, as scholars, we study this. We study from the indigenous point of view, being here in this land, And, there are many different spins to it, but what we do know is that even to this day, the United States have their armies right over there in the Persian Gulf. The biggest, largest military buildup is in the Persian Gulf. They have to control this part of the earth. So there's something very spiritual as well as historically important in front of us. That's why when you hear the confidence that we have about serving this your idea of what we're doing, we know we have the opportunity now to make a difference.
Okay.
You hear me? We have the
This is in
opportunity.
Jerusalem right now.
Yeah. And you say you're turning around because I was supposed to be in Jerusalem today, and they wound up postponing because of this. Can you share with people, because I know people are watching this and seeing this TV, of what's happening right now in Jerusalem? I don't think they won't even have it open for us to go tomorrow. Maybe because of the police are allowed, they're fighting and protesting. But can you share on your side and as well as you, what is happening here?
This is they call it, the Jewish, they call it, a flag movement. A flag movement in the ancient city of Jerusalem.
Because they call it Jerusalem Day today.
Yeah, Jerusalem Day. Jerusalem Day, they call it when the Israeli take it, the Israel army take it. So we call it a Nakba. We call it, this day is a Nakba. You make a lot of people to run away to Jordan, to Iraq, to anywhere, to Syria. We call it Nakba. Now they want to mention this, and they want to go to the ancient city of Jerusalem with the flag. Before 1 week, we make with that journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, and she discussed all the Muslims there. They making Christianity, Muslim, and all the people who here we was in the flag, in the Palestinian flag. Now they want to make this Israeli flag to just to cross in the Arab neighborhood, because the ancient city is still a Muslim they live in there. And they we have to protest, and they have to protest like this, just to get to let us to be angry. They say no, this is our capital. We say no, this is our capital. Yeah. So the fight is still going, and you see, as no one can receive those people long time. They still fighting how to establish here, and I think myself, how they treat these people like this, they start to draw it down, and they will go, and they will win, and they will leave like the Turkish and like the English people who live here, because they don't know what we gonna see. 100 soldiers for 1 man attack him. Even now, you take the flag, they want to arrest you. Today, they say if you make a Palestinian flag, we arrest you for 1 year.
You understand this point? See, there's a neighborhood. First of all, Jerusalem. Hold on, shit.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Jerusalem is
that's the flag. He was holding the flag. He took the flag from the guy. Okay.
Yeah.
If you read the history of Muhammad, because of this Abrahamic idea in the one culture, Jerusalem is also I was just saying about the center of the earth. I think Rabia said it in his presentation that the Mediterranean Sea is actually mid-terrain sea. That's right out from here.
Correct.
So it's Middle Earth.
Right.
That's what that sea represents.
Correct.
And so Jerusalem is ideally a part of the Middle Earth.
Right.
And so this is why the city is also sacred to Abrahamic culture, Ishmaelite culture, and Israelite culture.
Okay.
But the Jews, when they came in 48, they wanted Jerusalem to be the capital city for the Jewish state.
Okay.
And so that was that's really what the entire war has been about. It's been about Jerusalem. So Jerusalem Day represents when they captured Jerusalem, when they took it in the war.
Yeah.
You know, it was the climax, the capstone of the war.
Mhm.
And so on this day, they they replay,
Okay.
you know, the whole occupation. You know, the Israelis want to walk through these neighborhoods with their flags, and the Palestinians, you know, they just refuse. And know that there's a difference between the Palestinians and Sheikh A'id.
Okay. Explain that a little bit.
First of all, there's never been a Palestinian state.
Okay.
This land was never supposed to have taken on the idea of Palestinian. This is Abraham, right? That's what we've been saying. It's the Abrahamic land, meaning to the Ishmaelites, and the Abrahamic land to the Israelites. The Palestinian is and this is another very sensitive, you know, subject, because the Palestinians, they never had a state here. There's never been a Palestinian state. The Israelis did not take the land, the homeland of the Palestinian people. Most of the Palestinians, if you look at their grandfathers and their great-grandfathers' passports, they're from Lebanon and from Jordan. They had countries. The first time that a Palestinian state tried to be was to be established, or was brought forth or proclaimed, you know, in a hopeful establishment of the Palestinian state, was under the Ottoman Turks.
Right.
And the Ottoman Turks turned it down because historically there's never been a Palestinian people. Not in ancient times.
Right.
Those people, remember, these people come from Europe for the most, and they're amalgamated with the Ishmaelite people here. And eventually they begin to call this land. Yeah, they begin to call this land Palestine. But there was never a sovereign Palestinian state here.
Right.
What does that name mean, Palestine? So where did the name come from? If they were from different countries,
Some,
how did that name Palestine?
some people say that it comes from the ancient Philistines, you know, but it really doesn't, because the Philistinian people, they actually decimated. They went off of the scene. They just depopulated. But the term actually is just another term that was used by political analysts and geopolitical, you know, politicians and parts of government who were trying to take control of this land. So the Palestinian people were just those who had migrated into Israel during maybe the turn of the century, from the 1800s to the 1900s. They began to migrate here.
Right.
And Sheikh's people were here when they came in. And so, but because they were coming from affluent countries out of Jordan and Syria, and they were able to build a strong presence here, and they began to dominate in the economics, and et cetera, and they actually built a settlement kind of idea here. And then they claim, but this is the key, they claim to be the ancestors of Ishmael.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, that's why they feel they have the rights to Jerusalem, because of the covenant we're talking about. But these are different people than the Bedouins.
They're different people, because we told them these people they became Muslim with the sword.
With the sword.
Yeah, these people they're not coming a Muslim by the faith. You know, Prophet come to you and you accept what he say, and you say, I'm with you, I'm following you, your guide, I found you, sir. Those people you call them, because if you go to this area, you find Kufr Qasim, Kufr Bara, Kufr is meant unbeliever. They call it. This is unbeliever. Those people, they come in with the sword. They come into Islam in the sword. It's not coming by the faith.
Okay, when you say they come in Islam by the sword, what do you mean?
When the Islam came here, I think in the 600 of if they came here, then they say, or you become Muslim, or we murder you.
Yeah.
So they say, I'm a Muslim. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
So are you saying Islam had a sword giving people the option to become Muslim or we murder you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying this,
Yeah.
I'm asking the question, is because there are some who don't believe that happened. They believe Islam spread with peace, without a sword.
There is different.
Yeah.
The sword is not for the Jewish or the Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
the people who believe in one God.
Okay.
The sword against the people who worship idols.
Mm-hmm.
So we give you a chance. Or you say some word,
Mm-hmm.
some word, and you become under the covenant.
Okay.
But if not, you cannot, because you want to fight our religion. You have to do the same. But if you think in all the Muslims who praise the Muslim, no, there's something. No, they just give him the prayer, and his heart is very. He's not purified.
Right.
His heart.
It's true.
He just like this.
Mm-hmm.
He just say like that. And in that time, this is the same. Sometimes he come to Prophet Muhammad come like in Jordan or Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
If the people belong to him, they become under the Islam covenant. Finish.
Great
No,
hood.
nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an Ishmaelite with the great hood there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's very good.
Think about it. 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 Think about it.
Okay, so that was a excerpt of the Shaikh giving some information, as well as Sa Kazriel of the Hebrew Israelite community that's been there in Israel since 1969 or so. But I want to point out some stuff that what the Sheikh was saying that maybe went over some people's heads. As well as Sar Kazriel. The two Muslim Christian was never really a problem back in the day, acknowledging that Ishmael was the son of Abraham, and Israel was a son, or Isaac was the son of Abraham. That the two actually recognize each other and could get along in harmony in a sense. If you go to some of these African countries that got Muslims and Christians, they get along fine. You don't see no up that they live side by side, neighbor to neighbor. They don't fight and argue and all this other stuff. The only fighting and arguing you see when it comes to those who are saying the Israelis or Muslims are where you find the war and the fighting. But when you go to Africa with the Muslims and the Christians per se, and when I say the Muslims and Christians, let's not think of so-called religion. We're talking about those who have an understanding that they have a connection through the Abrahamic faith or the lineage through the bloodline, so that they can still live in peace. Now, what Sheikh was saying was when Prophet Muhammad came through the region of what they call the land of Israel, during that time of 600, I think it was what he had claimed was what he mentioned was 600s, that they didn't have no threat against their own, nothing against their own brother. It was those who were idol worshipers. They looked at that as a threat, because whether you talk about the Hebrew, you talk about the Muslims, you talk about Israel, what have you, Jews, whatever, they were all about a spiritual God. They were not about a idol worship, conjuring up something out of the fire and all this stuff right here. It was about this spiritual God. So him saying that and then sharing that, hey, how it was when Sar Kazriel was explaining about who are these Palestinians, and sharing about how did they wind up coming into the country, or coming into the region rather, and then making a community, a city, by what they brought and built. When the Europeans came in, saying that they had ties to the land, they want a part of it, And so it's split. You got a Muslim side, you got in Jerusalem, you got a Muslim side, you got a Israeli side, what have you. And so this is the warring that goes on, the fussing and the fighting. But it's interesting enough that how is it that we, a peaceful people, can live side by side with Muslims and Christians, whether you want to call yourself Hebrew Israelites, but that we can be at peace with one another. But you have those who still fight against each other. Why is that? So this right here is just another piece of the puzzle, family, that you can hear from those that's on the ground, from the scholars, from those who have a connection with their family for thousands of years, for those who have a story outside of being influenced by a European Western mentality, that these people who exist here in these regions that won't be wavered, won't be shaken, won't be threatened to stand ground on who they are as a people. So let me hit this right here, because we use the word so loosely when we say truth. What is truth? Who can prove what truth is? Let me tell you this right here. Truth cannot stand alone. For instance, and this is what was shared with me in my life to get me to where I am today through the Spirit that shared me. Truth is only one man's understanding and his experience that he's lived. For instance, nobody can tell you that you're wrong in what you experience. Nobody can tell you that. Nobody can tell you that you did not go through something or you did not feel something, experience something. That is your truth, and it cannot be shaken, and you will die by it. So truth is only based upon one man's understanding or his experience. Like I like to say, I was not there when the scrolls was written. I can't tell you for 100% is it factual, but is there any witness to it? This is where many people fail to get off of their butts, go travel and talk to indigenous people of what their story is. Because now then, if I can find credible witness, if I can find those out here who could substantiate the very things that I might believe in, then a witness is credible enough to add on to what it is that you might have come to understand or experience, which now becomes your truth. That's why it's interesting enough in the scriptures, the scrolls, the ancient writings, y'all call it a Bible. It says you must have at least two witnesses. At least two witnesses in order to substantiate any flaw or cause or anything against your brother or person. You must have two witnesses. Look, before Jesus Christ came, what was the witness before Jesus Christ came, supposedly? Now, I say Jesus Christ, Yeshua, or whatever. There had to be witness before even that individual came. Right? There's got to be, nothing stands alone. Not even God stands alone. There must be a witness. Without a witness, there's no credibility. There's none. So we have to stop using this word, the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, unless you have witnesses to substantiate. So if you want to believe in the Bible, then it behooves you to go research these areas, these people that are spoken of. It behooves you to delve into some of these writings, What was the language? Do you know the language? See, I'm not equipped like some of these brothers and sisters out here. They could speak the Hebrew, they could speak Aramaic, they could speak that. They know how to decipher some of that stuff. That's not my area. That's why I don't teach it. See, I don't teach what I don't know. I can't speak on stuff that I don't know. I can only speak on what was shown me through the Spirit or through my travels of witnesses of people. That is my truth. And I can validate those things that are in the Bible, scrolls, ancient writings, or the scriptures. I can validate those things because of my travels, sitting down, breaking bread with people, and adding to my truth to make it more clearer. Because there are people out here who has thousands of years of history in their family, passed from generation to generation to generation, that they select these people within the generations to continue this message on to the next generation. We are unfortunate that are in the Western world who got caught up in the slave trades and don't have no history, that we could not pass that on to our children. So we're at a disadvantage. We're only subject to those who teach us and indoctrinate us on their history. This is why I believe you should be sharing this video. Share the video with everybody, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to, I'm not gonna say I'm trying, what I'm doing through the Spirit is going through and opening up for one to be able to take their knowledge and their experience and see, does that add on to where you have been searching and haven't found that missing piece to your story, you know? And so my thing is that it takes, you know, us as a people to build. It takes us as a people to build. Yeah. So, you know, I got 8 minutes. Anybody got any questions, any comments, anything like that? I would be more than welcome to be able to answer, you know, but we have to get out of this mindset and be renewed in our ways of thinking, family. It's cursing us. It's keeping us from our rightful place of promise. It's keeping us from really getting to where we really need to be in life. You know, my lovely daughter, who I did a video that she just got fired. Well, she's panicking now because she hasn't found a job yet. And I asked her, so you've been, you know, what places you've been applying to, this and this and that? Well, come to find out, because I'm going to go somewhere with this right here. I want y'all to hold on to this. We're talking about your thinking. She's only applying in the area of Dallas. And I'm like, what the world are you only applying for in Dallas for? Why? Please explain to me. I don't want to give up my apartment because I don't want to break my lease, because I don't want to mess up my credit. I said, okay. I can get that. I understand what you're saying, but hold up now. Let me ask you this right here. This is what I asked her. You said you're exhausting your money. It's coming to an end, and you don't want to let go of the apartment. And because you're not letting go of the apartment, you have not even put, out of the 50 countries in America, you've only put your fishing pole and your string in one pond, that you're not getting any responses, because you don't even see, you're cursing your own self because you're trying to hold on to an apartment. You mean to tell me you rather exhaust all your money and be unemployed than be employed with money with bad credit? Because you can get over past bad credit, but you can't get past when you ain't got no money. This is the thinking that we have when it comes to they have put fear in us. Oh, my credit, my credit, my credit. Now, black folks know, many black folks know, that, they ain't got no good credit. But even then in the 80s, when they created the credit score, it was biased. It was all about the attacks against keeping the black folk from getting. But sometimes in life, like losing a job, there's no way around it. That is not self-inflicted because you were just terrible with, you created all this debt and your credit is just shot. No, you just lost your job and you can't take care of paying your apartment anymore, and you need to move on. But yet, because they have put this in our heads, you would rather exhaust all your money, be broke, not have a job because you're looking in one place, and yet you can't get past the fact when I say, let it go. But get this, family, get this. I say, I'm your dad, and I'm giving you some advice. And if you took my advice and it happened to fail, I'm obligated to make sure you don't drown. I'm obligated. If I tell you let go of that goddamn apartment and you have trouble trying to get an apartment when you get your next job, guess who's standing there going to take care of that? Because you followed my advice. But pay very close attention. If you want to do what you want to do and keep digging yourself in the hole, you already know your daddy. I'm going to stand by and want to see my daughter get herself back out that hole. This is the ignorance sometimes. The youth do not want to lean to the elders. I got it. I'm going to do it my way. And as soon as you get in trouble, can you help me? No. See, I'm not that way. Because I want to see you reach your full potential. And I know that we as a people have to understand that there are elders that are here who's doing the legwork of research. They are out here doing work, trying to show you all who we really are. That's the white man's Bible. That's the white man's religion. And yet we sit here watching ourselves act a fool, killing each other, drugging and dying and abortions in our communities. And we're doing, not having a full family and daddy's missing or mama's missing. And we are just suffering. All because we don't want to follow what's right. Take it from me. When I was on the dark side of life, my gosh, I thought life was miserable. When I came into the light, it's been nothing but joy. Nothing but joy. Not to say it's perfect. Life situations come at you. And like I told my daughter, who she's still trying to find the Almighty because she doesn't believe in that, hey, you ain't got no strength and no source to keep you motivated. You're relying on yourself. And this is why you're panicking. And this is why you're full of anxiety. This is why you're stressing. It's because of the fact that you want to do everything your way. You want to be in control? Go ahead. This is the problem with us black folk. This is the problem. We've been following religion and following the Western mindset of religion, and we ain't seen no prosperity. I'm not talking about money either, because there's people, look at the people got all the money. They go through divorce, they go through pains, they go through sufferings too. They lose their minds, some kill themselves. So we're not talking about the financial gain. That's just a small piece of prosperity when you are under the hand of the Almighty. I'm talking about having a peace of mind, being at rest, having a spirit of joy. It ain't worth living when you stressing every day. That's a bad place to be. Take it from me, who was about to commit suicide at the age of 28. I was miserable. And my daughters are going to go through it. And it's a good place for them to go through it. And I can sit back and I can smile. And I said, hey, keep being a hardhead. Do it your way. Keep doing it your way. Because what we want to do is we always want to consider looking at what the white people do. Well, they're evil. Why do they get to be prosperous and that? Hold up. First and foremost, stop trying to look at somebody else what they doing. Number two, you can't consider and compare yourself to them. Because what you thinking that is the grandest of things, which is material or money, you're losing it. This is why Europeans can come and they can come in Africa and they can say, these people ain't using their gold, their diamonds. They don't look at it. This stuff is worth money. Give it to us. We'll take it. And they take it. And the Africans was going like, we happy over here. We chilling. But now that they're embracing these economies and these civilizations and all that right there, which takes money, you need to get your resources back now and start using your resources to build what you want to try to be like these civilizations. Instead of begging and having them giving you and keep taking out the back door and they giving you pennies in the front door, you see, this is where knowledge needs to be coming in because our youth mindset and African mindset is still young. Africa's only 60 years young in independence, free from a colonizer, still trying to figure out how to run a democracy government, which will never work in an African community. It won't. No different than you trying to raise your black family as what a white man would do. What does a white man typically do with his family? They let the children decide what they want to do, who they want to be, and act the way they want to act. When I was growing up, we used to see them white people right there, little kids running around talking bad about their mama, cursing them out, and daddies, and fussing and fighting and throwing tantrums and all that stuff right there. And we would look back and be like, what the world? What is that? And then you try it and you get your butt told up and you learn, not in this house, buddy. This house is about respecting your mama and your daddy. I'm going to say this right here. This is for y'all right here. Look, y'all are fortunate to hear this right here. And I'm going to say this. We are not the same species as other races. I got that confirmation. That's my truth. I know for a fact. First and foremost, our ancestors who were, way before us, they understood as above, so below. They understood what is within is out, without. That means then that all things are connected. That means that even around you can teach you about who you are, how things are, and you can build off of it. Do you know that building came from watching the insects and the animals? That was one aspect of doing things different. When you could sit and study an anthill and watch how they burrow through and you study that and you're like, idea. You can watch other different type of animals that might burrow in grounds or in trees or in mounds or create mounds or wherever. And you study, our ancestors studied everything. And you can create those things off of what you learn around you. Now, let me ask you this question, family. How is it that you have the animal species that has thousands of species in it? The bird kingdom, the mammal kingdoms, the insect kingdom, and everything, the plant kingdoms have all different types of species, but they told us we all come from one. It's a lie. It's a flat out lie. We don't come from one. We are not all the same species. This is a lie they told, that there was an organism that was in the water, that wiggled around, became a fish, flopped on the land, had grew legs, then began to walk, then came into the existence of some monkey, and then came into an ape, and then came into man. So you see, that story which was taught to us, we believed it. We are a different species of a people, which means then we're regulated from a different creator. This is my facts, y'all. This ain't something I just conjure up. This is years of coming to understanding. Years of coming to understanding. And if people will even read their scriptures, it says it. It hints to it. But we keep saying, we want to be treated equal. We want to be treated equal. Equal? You want to lower your life standard morality to people who are not like you? Why do you think it was forbidden for you to even cross over to deal with these other folks out here? It was forbidden. And this is what's killing us. It's killing Africans that they're running around here with this white Jesus, this whole religious mindset of how this Christianity life is killing us. We always got them in the forefront as wanting to be the teachers and the instructors, trying to tell us as the people how we supposed to be. Come on. Slow your roll, calm down. Look, we got ours over here. You got yours over there. You do what you do because there's two sides of life now, y'all family. There's the light side and the dark side. Don't get caught up in the rewards of monetary stuff and materials that you think that's the light, because the dark rewards its own too. There is a son of Satan. There is a spiritual dimension that is on the dark side, and there's a spiritual dimension that's on the light side. And so the thing of it is that we got to stop comparing ourselves with them across the fence. We need to look at the fact that we need to get back on board with whom we supposed to be giving honor and respect to, instead of trying to follow them and leading us always into damnation. Now you see black folk confused. Black children run around talking about their boys when they're girls, and girls they boys. It's ridiculous. Legalizing all these drugs, and now children was experimenting this and that. You got these black folk up here like Mike Tyson's and all those names up there promoting weed and acids and mushrooms and trying to just lead people astray because they don't even know who they are. Matter of fact, they might even not even be part. It's just how it is. This is truth. So if you want to compare yourself to them, then go follow them, because we already know which route that goes. But if you want to follow the Most High, the one, the truth, the only truth, then my thing is watch what happens in your life. Become the watcher now and see how you become strengthened in situations that takes you to the next elevation on a spiritual consciousness. Family, I gotta go. Time for me to eat. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. All right, family, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace and blessings.